The chair recognizes the author for a 2-minute intro statement.
Thank you, Sir Chair. My name is Werk, and I am from Florida. About 1 in 2 pregnancies in America are unplanned, and about 1 in 3 pregnancies result in termination or adoption. In 1973, the Supreme Court established in Roe v. Wade that abortion is incumbent within the constitutional right to privacy. However, some legislative bodies have ignored this decision and have attacked a woman's right to an abortion through restrictions and sometimes bans. For example, the U.S. House of Representatives passed a bill that would allow hospitals to refuse to provide emergency abortion care to a woman who would die without it. Abortion hasn't been the only right established by the court that's been attacked. In 1965, the court ruled in Griswold v. Connecticut that the right to privacy encompasses the right of married persons to use contraceptives. And 7 years later, the court's decision in Eisenstadt v. Baird decreed that the right to privacy protects access to contraceptives for the married and unmarried alike. However, the right to contraception has been attacked through refusal laws, which permit a broad range of institutions and individuals, including hospitals, hospital employees, healthcare providers, employers, and insurers, to refuse to provide, pay, counsel, or even refer for medical treatment. There have been 13 known occurrences where pharmacists or other individuals have refused to give a woman or couple birth control. Women's reproductive rights have been established through rulings by the Supreme Court, but not through legislation, and are prone to easy attack. We cannot let the atrocity of attacking women's rights stand. This is why it is crucial that we secure the right to privacy, contraception, abortion, and other reproductive rights by defending the relationship between a woman and her doctor and a woman's right to choose through an amendment to the Constitution. To the men in the room, I ask you if you would like your girlfriend, your future wife, or your future daughter to have the right over her body. And to the women in the room, I ask if you would prefer to make the decisions about your body or have the government choose for you. Thank you. I yield my time to my submission.
Thank you, author. With that, we will move to technical and non-debatable questions. Chamber, please come to order. With that, Cobb, Conklin, Ciano, Smith, Pradhan, Koch, Sherud, and Halligan.
Did this mean, Family of Alabama, did this mean that doctors and hospitals, such as Catholic hospitals, that refuse to birth control or perform abortions, will then be considered the federal government?
Refusal laws will still be in place. No more can be made. So these institutions can still refuse.
Delegation. In the second part of your proposal for action, you state the right to abortion without restriction. Is that can you clarify that a little bit?
Restrictions mean waiting periods, mandatory counseling. Restrictions will still be in place for minors due to parental rights. But any other restrictions that would
Thank you, author.
This includes any abortion up to the point of fetal viability, which is 24 to 28 weeks.
Delegation, does this mean the right to purchase abortions and contraceptions, or the right to have them provided to trade?
The right to purchase them. My question.
Edward Shooter, main delegation. My question has been answered.
Halligan, can I check my question?
The chair will recognize more questions. Branch, Clough, Polanski.
Thank you, Mr. President. Comrade Judicial Columbia. As a constitutional right, would the government be required to cover the cost of these services?
Did you propose to suggest that right now the current states that doctors are allowed to do those
I'm sorry, delegate, that's a debatable question.
My name is Alex Polanski, and I am from Florida. How many states have restrictions on abortions?
23 states have waiting periods, 26 states have mandatory counseling, and 7 require all terms.
Thank you, author. With that, time for technical, non-debatable questions has elapsed. The chair will recognize the first con speaker. The chair recognizes Mitchell. Delegate, your time has started.
Vincent Mitchell, Family of Alabama. I reserve the right to give the remainder of my time to the delegates.
So reserved.
Big bad. Right. Alongside disagreeing with the financial difficulties of this proposal, and the exemption of a father who demonstrates responsibility to have a decision in the abortive process. I have problems with each right proposed, and I'll tackle it right by right. The phrase regardless of age allows for some rather unwarranted situations of contraception distribution, such as a very precocious toddler being able to cop a couple condoms for kicks and giggles. This can be improved by positing a minimum age around the beginning of puberty, I won't offer it now, which could both eliminate silly exploitations of the proposal and would encourage you to wait until that designated age to engage in sexual intercourse. For the United States, second item, for the United States' future citizens, for our enemies, I believe we need to offer efficient justification for why abortion is not murder and does not conflict with our Constitution. I'd also prefer the greater restrictions and specifications about the time frame during which a woman may abort a child. The third thing, the right implied by the third statement is vague even within the realms of the proposal. I can read it rather literally and assume that it legalizes a woman's right to maintain private sexual relationships with her gynecologist. More specific diction would indubitably improve the direction of this proposal. These rights may be in the language of prior cases on the subject, but that does not mean that they could not be better worded.
Thank you, Delegate. Your time has elapsed. The chair will now recognize a first pro speaker. The chair recognizes Navarro.
My name is Nora Navarro, and I am from Florida. I reserve my right to give my remaining time to the delegate from New Jersey.
So reserved.
Thank you. I strongly encourage you all to rate this proposal low. Now, whether you're pro-choice or pro-life doesn't matter. I believe I share the same thought with all of you, that this issue has been in question for far too long. It is time to find a middle ground. This proposal grants that by...
Delegate, please display your placard.
Oh, I'm sorry. This proposal grants that by securing these rights to contraception and abortion while holding place parental rights over minors, extinguishing this problem will clear the table and enable us to work on some new problems. What better way than now that everyone has their mind on this issue? It's time to clear the waters. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Delegate, that time was not yielded to you.
I said it at the beginning.
You need to actually exercise the right as well as reserve that right. With that said, the floor is now open for a con speech. The chair recognizes Delegate Hearn.
New Jersey delegation, thank you, Sir Chair. I reserve the right to yield the remainder of my time to Basil from the UN.
That is your right.
The Declaration of Independence states that humans have 3 unalienable rights: the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. This proposal directly violates the Declaration of Independence by taking away the right to life. Now, one might argue that an unborn child is not life yet, but again, there is no proof that they are not living either. Now let me ask us all, as a nation, do we really want to take the risk of permitting the slaughter of potential life? Thank you. I give the remainder of my time to you.
You've yielded 50 seconds.
Alana Basil, Mahdia Nations Delegation. Thank you, Sir Chair, and thank you, my previous delegate. Will the author yield to a series of my questions? I do. And I reserve my right to speak thereafter. You mentioned before in restrictions that there was going to be a restriction placed on minors that they would have to have parental consent. Only parental consent in states that currently require it, or notification. What was that last part? Some states require only notification. I find that somewhat contradicts the third part, in that there needs to be privacy in between the woman and her healthcare provider in these states that require minors to have, or require the restrictions to minors, because if there's going to be a private relationship between a woman and her doctor, in order for her to get an abortion, I don't feel that parents should have to be involved. So I do applaud the intentions of this.
Thank you, Delegate. Time is up. With that, the chair recognizes the next pro speech, a final one. The chair recognizes Miller.
Thank you, Sir Chair. I am Miller, Commonwealth of Massachusetts. I reserve my right to yield the remainder of my time to draw.
Just a second.
Am I right? I reserve the right to yield the remainder of my time to go out of New York. Okay, 9 months, that's the average pregnancy. Women have to endure the pregnancy, carrying the child. That time could be spent in school, in the workplace, living the life. It is unfair. Women deserve to have the choice to their body.
Delegate your placard.
Sorry. I yield the remainder of my time to Broad from New York.
Thank you, Sir Chair Marissa Parada, delegation in New York. I would like to first say that birth control and contraceptives, they're not a woman's right. This is a human right that is deserved to have. And I'd like to mention, we live in a different time today. This isn't years ago when people would not have sexual relations before they got married. Uncoupled people have sexual relations, and sexuality is considered something that's no shame anymore. The don't have sex theory is no longer prevalent today. Furthermore, what is wrong with birth control? It is responsible. It is saving money by preventing unwanted pregnancies. And not only that, it's population control in a way. A woman is fertile for 40 days, about 500
Committee.
A woman is fertile for 40 days, about 500 of her eggs will ripen for fertilization. 2 out of 28 days, a woman will be fertile. That's 1/7 out of about 40 years. And when a man is young, he will ejaculate about hundreds of millions of sperm. So therefore, why isn't birth control, contraceptives, abortions allowed? This is a woman's right.
Thank you, Delegate. With that, the chair recognizes the final con speech. The chair recognizes Sienna.
Tori Sienna, Tennessee, volunteer state. May I yield the remainder of my time to a fellow delegate?
That's your right.
As a woman, I guess I'm supposed to be like for abortion because it's kind of like, oh, you're for women's rights. I'm actually against abortion, but that's not what I'm going to talk on. I want to reiterate the fact that this is currently legal, and I just feel like this is kind of pointless because it's currently something that's legal. There's not a state where you can't get an abortion. There are limits, and those have been taken up to the Supreme Court, and most of those limits, the limits that are currently in place have been stated by the Supreme Court to be acceptable. All limits that are unacceptable have been repealed by the Supreme Court. So every limit that's currently in place is okay with the Supreme Court. I don't feel like this is necessary from a pro-choice, pro-life stance in any way. I am against abortion, but that's not why I'm against this proposal. I yield my time.
Thank you, Delegate. You've yielded 45 seconds.
Robbie Moore, Republic of Texas. Thank you so much for this time. I would like to thank all of you for just being so nice here, and I really want to just encourage this very nice debate. I'm not here to argue abortion. I'm not here to argue people's rights. But I just think that this proposal is going about this the wrong way. You're making a constitutional right to have abortions and birth control. That means that a young girl who doesn't know what she is doing can get easily in trouble. When someone wants to help her, she will say no. It's my constitutional right, and she will be guarded by the government. When her parents want help, in a sense, the government will protect her from her parents.
Thank you, Delegate. With that, time for debate has elapsed. The author has a 2-minute, 5-second summation.
Thank you, Sir Chair, and thank you all for the great debate on this proposal. First off, I'd like to clarify some things that were argued during the con argument. First off, the financial difficulty that a previous delegate stated is the same financial difficulty that is there right now. I'm not making it harder to pay for an abortion. And another previous delegate said that the man should be able to be involved in the decision. I'm not saying that the man can't be involved in the decision. What if the man walks out on the girl that he got pregnant? What if he's a teenage guy that says, no, I don't want to deal with the fact that I impregnated another woman? Does he still deserve the right to make the decision on if she can have that baby or not? I personally don't think so. Another previous delegate stated that toddlers could get contraception. Children don't have sexual urges until puberty. And I don't know about you, but if I was a mother, I wouldn't give my 5-year-old money to go get condoms. And considering they can't drive, they have to have me with them. A previous delegate stated that they'd like to clarify why abortion is not murder. The Supreme Court has long held that a woman can have an abortion until the age of fetal viability, which is when the fetus is considered a person. That's 24 to 28 weeks. That's when they can live outside the womb, albeit with artificial aid. That is when they are a person. So up until that point, it is not murder, legally, by the definition. The Declaration of Independence, first off, I'd like to say that's not a legal document of laws. But in the life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness part of that, this proposal, if it's not passed, you're taking away liberty, the woman's right to choose. I'd like to point out, these are rights, yes, granted by the Supreme Court, but states are placing horrible, horrible restrictions on them. Some states have banned abortion up to 12 weeks. That's still in the first trimester. So this is making it to where it's easier. It's a right of a woman to choose. That is all. Thank you for the great debate. I urge you to rank this proposal low. Thank you, Sir Chair. I yield my time.